We went ahead and completed the game, but there's still some parts that we do need to work on, and I just want to talk about those. So first of all, if you see this is my completed version of the game, and you'll notice that there's a couple of differences between this one and the one that you have. This one has a number of deaths down here, right? So if I go ahead and I die, and then I respawn, you'll see it moves from 14 to 15. And then, of course, if I leave the game, then it will show that I have 15 deaths, right? So this information here is stored on the it's stored on the data store services. And if I press the reset game button, then it takes my deaths back to 0 and starts me off at this starting spawn location, right? You can see that there's background music, so we'll go ahead and add that as we go through the second part of this tutorial. And then lastly, there is this current leader down at the bottom, right? So it starts off with a default value of DLSMUSD with 9,999 deaths, and the first person to win the game is obviously going to have a lower number of deaths than that. And so then their username and the number of deaths that they took to win the game is going to be posted down here as current leader. So that is another aspect of the game that we need to code. Okay. Let me go ahead and get out of here, and I'll show you a couple of more aspects of the game that we need to code. Another thing is if the player ends on this spawn point here, right? He starts off here, and let's say he plays for 30 minutes and he gets to this location right over here after a lot of hard work. Well, if he goes ahead and leaves the game and comes back and plays again, he should start off where he left off, right, at this spawn location. So that also needs to be saved on the data store services. Another thing that needs to be saved is, let's say the player was here in the maze and he found 2 of the angels. So his jump power was like 2 jump power, right? So he's able to jump higher. And then if, let's say, he dies for some reason, he hits a bomb and explodes, and then he stops playing the game, right? Comes back, plays again, he starts by spawning at this location here. His jump power should be at 2, right? Like as if he had found 2 of the angels. And so we need to save that information as well. Okay. Let's see, is there anything else that needs to be saved? Oh, and also, if he eventually touches this a spawn location here, right, then we need to make sure that his gravity is reset back to 197. Actually, I think we've already done that here. So let me click on that, take a look at the script. Yeah, so if he touches that spawn point, then we set gravity to 197. So we don't have to do that. But we do have to do everything else. Okay, and so that's what this second part of the tutorial is going to go through, is how to set up our leader stats folder, what variables we need, and how to use those variables to create the behavior that we want over here. Okay, so that's an overview, and we're going to start by creating our leader stats folder and having it contain one piece of data, is the oomphs, right? And we could think of oomphs as being a euphemism for deaths, and we'll get started with that in video number 2.